What's up, all you nature freaks?
What's going on?
Dave and Jeremy back in the studio with another Saturday slap in the face.
And today we're hanging out with some awesome Aussies, the carpet pythons.
Nature in your face!
Alright, so this episode is all about the carpet pythons and why they're incredible snakes and why you need one.
You definitely need one. And let me talk about why they're called carpet pythons. Back in the day, when the workers would get back from a hard day's work in the field, they would wipe their feet on these snakes to get all the dirt off of their boots. I'm completely kidding, they didn't do that.
I was like, what?
They're called carpet pythons because of these dazzling and amazing colors and patterns that mimic, or supposedly mimic, that of a woven Middle Eastern carpet. And they do, with the color and pattern, they do really look like those Middle Eastern carpets, if you're familiar with them.
Yeah, they're, really cool snakes, beautiful looking. Now, as you can see, they're not balled up, just sitting there like other popular pet snakes.
Mm-hmm.
They like to move, they like to groove, they love to climb. So these snakes are going to utilize any space that you give them on the ground, logs. They're going to like to climb up. This one keeps wanting to go on this shelf, and I got to prevent that from happening.
Yep, you got the big guy. So one of the reasons that we really recommend these snakes as captive pets is because of their size. We call them the tweener pythons. They're not super huge like your reticulated pythons or your Burmese pythons, and they're not small or real small like your ball pythons or your green tree pythons. So kind of like mama bear, papa bear, and baby bear, you know.
Oh my.
This is the middle guy. Right?
Yeah, not only that, they got the cool pattern, active, but check out the head on these snakes. Super cool heads. Just good looking snakes. Oh, you see the light now? You're like, hello, camera. So really cool looking snakes, period. You can't go wrong. Another thing is not everybody has these. I mean, you run into somebody, you're like, hey, I got a ball python. They're like,
Boring.
me too, I got 30 at the house.
Mm-hmm.
But the carpet pythons, we need to get these out there, spread these out there into the world. And they're not unpopular. If you go to a reptile show, you're definitely going to run into these. But just nowhere near as popular as the ball python. So get something different, you know?
Yep. And hey, speaking of size, these guys will get anywhere from about 4 to 9 feet, depending on what species that you get. They have a lot of color morphs, so if you're into that, there's the zebra carpet python, the jaguar carpet python, the granite, and the caramel. So there's different morphs to choose from.
Yeah, and you just mentioned different species. There's several different species. You got the coastal carpet, you got the jungle carpet, Irian Jaya, oh no, Irian Jaya, and the diamonds, and that's just to name a few. And what are you doing up there? Quit knocking stuff off. So you can get different patterns in those, and then even morphs within that. So awesome snakes with a lot of potential out there. I think you guys should check them out. One hundo. Now let's talk about diet, because that's the first thing you need to know. How to keep the snake, what to keep it in, and what it's going to eat.
Yeah, you're going to start out obviously when it hatches with very small fuzzy mice. You're going to graduate up to mice, then rats. But one thing that you should know, mentioning, now that we mentioned sizes, they're a little bit nippy as hatchlings, up to about maybe a year old if you're not handling them that often. And that's just a predatory response. They're small for the first few years of their life. So obviously to protect themselves, they're going to want to bite. Unlike the ball python that rolls up into a ball to defend itself, this doesn't. So it's going to look at you as a threat, and it's going to try to bite you. Until you handle it for a few, weeks, it's going to be a little bit nippy, so you got to be careful for that.
Yeah, and that would be obviously one of the negatives. Unlike a ball python, when you get a baby ball python, they're super chill, and you can pick them up right away. Like Dave said, these can be a little defensive. Now, with the nippiness, comes the nippiness, comes an amazing feed response, all right? Now, we love it because these guys don't skip a meal. You off from a mouse, rat, or a chick, booyakasha, they're ripping that thing up. But this snake was actually given to me because the person was afraid of its feed response. Every time they got near the cage, this thing was slamming into the cage, lighting up, and he still would do it. But once you get him out, look at this. Super sweet. All right, you just got to read between the lines. All right. I mean, sometimes people get hangry. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. All right. So what about the enclosure? Like most pythons, you're going to need a little bit of humidity, obviously heat. But the size of the enclosure is the most important thing for these guys because, as we mentioned, they're climbers. In the wild, people find them on the rooftops, they're up in trees. So you're going to have some kind of a vertical branch or a horizontal branch that you can climb on. Maybe even just put a shelf there for them to bask on. They just love to climb. As Jeremy mentioned, they love to move around. They're like the greyhounds of the pythons. They're just super active, super fun snakes to have as pets.
the greyhounds of the pythons. Yeah, and they're very, very
That
common.
just means they're active.
They're very, very common in Australia, and people run into them all the time there, which is kind of a cool thing that it's from a different continent, the ball python. And the ball python is known mostly for staying on the ground. Yeah, they'll climb when it floods or if given the opportunity, but typically they like to sit in a corner and just kind of hide from you. These snakes all over the place, so it's good that they move, but like you were saying, if you don't have space for that large enclosure, the tall enclosure to give it the room, that could be one of the negatives as well. But other than that, pretty incredible snakes.
They really are. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up. Hope you guys enjoyed this Saturday slap in the face about our nice, beautiful, awesome carpet pythons.
We run out of synonyms.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, incredible,
Super
sexy.
wonderful, awesome.
Yeah, leave some comments down if you guys are into carpet pythons, if you've thought about getting one. If you have one, drop the name down there. Is it Susie Q, Lightning McSqueeze? I don't know. All right, we got JP, which is a horrible name because it's just Joan Carpet Python abbreviated. All right, don't judge me. All right, guys, we will see you on the next Saturday.
Yep.